Hi guys! Looking around on YouTube and the internet, it seems like everybody with a gun collection owns a golden gun. It seems like your gun collection isn't complete without a golden gun. So, not that ever my gun collection will be complete, because there is always another airgun that I would like to add to my collection. But still, I want a golden gun. So I'll be using my Maverick 30 caliber sniper to be converted into my golden gun for my collection. Perfect fit, I think, for the sniper. Pretty cool. And the obvious way of doing this will be probably going to the hardware store, buying a spray can of gold, color everything gold and call it a day. But I think there are better ways of doing this, and that's with some quality products from a company called Kraford Lypt. They don't only make accessories to color your gun gold, but they also add a bunch of extra features to your Maverick, which is pretty cool. By replacing the chassis, you add tons of features to it. By replacing the scope rail, you get also some other features. So let's get straight to the tabletop view, have a closer look at these products, see what the features they have, and of course see how the golden gun looks on the end. So first, let's start off with the chassis. It comes nicely packaged in these boxes, as you can see, pretty cool. So let's open it up and see what we get in that box. And you can straightly see it. First part is the chassis, as it comes in two pieces. This is another piece, and this is the main body, let's say. Put it to the side for a second. This is the rail that comes with it, to be mounted at the front like so. Pretty cool. You get yourself some screws to put everything together, of course, and a small with this Picatinny block that slides into those accessory rails you have on that chassis. So let me make a little bit of place on the table and start going over the features one by one. So here we have it, the main body of the chassis, and starting at the back you can see we'll have to transfer some parts from the original chassis over to this one, but we'll cover that in just a second when we start installing everything. Very lightweight, which can be a very good thing, as the chassis is quite big and you don't want to add a lot of weight to your gun, of course. Nicely anodized in this gold color, their logo stamped into it, feels like very good quality, and the anodizing is done very nicely as well. Starting at the back, especially on this side, you can see some T-slots as well as on the bottom, and these T-slots are made to slide in some Picatinny rails that you can then secure with those two screws you have there, or a sling mount, or whatever you want to add to it. Those are actually some accessory rails that allow you to mount some accessories to your chassis. Especially for a sling mount, these right here could be very useful. Also on the bottom they have drilled two little holes, you see right there. That's to adjust your trigger, so you don't have to take it out of your chassis, and you can just adjust your trigger like this with the chassis in place. Not much to see except for the nice beautiful golden color. We'll have to transfer our grip as well from the original chassis to this one, and then I believe the hole right here will mount up with that rail that comes at the bottom, where you can adjust your regulator from your first regulator as well. That's the main part. Let me take out the rail as well. Then we have the rail that connects to the front, just like this. The rail comes in two different sizes. You have this one, this is the standard one, and you have a compact one as well. Nicely designed with a low profile, very rigid Arca rail that sits nice and close to the bottle. The rail itself has one big long Arca connection from the back to the front, with a T-slot at the bottom, as you can see back here, to slide in some of those Picatinny rails, a sling mount or whatever. Maybe you have a bipod mount that you would like to put in there, some other accessories. You have a T-rail that goes all the way from the back to the front to mount those kind of accessories. So pretty cool, and as we will see, once we mount it up just like this, you there have that little hole in the front to adjust your front regulator, so you also don't have to take it out of the chassis in order to adjust your front regulator. So it looks like they thought about everything. Pretty cool. Now, the chassis, to have it in gold is nice, but I wanted to bring some more color, to bring some balance into my Fx Maverick. And therefore I chose also to replace the scope mount with the range extender from Kraford Lypt. It will be a perfect fit for my 30 caliber sniper, especially to reach out to those longer distances. And here we have the range extender, same golden color, pretty cool. Now the range extender lets the scope reticle move up to an additional 150 MOA, unlike some other adjustable scope rings which have a very high profile and not integrated into it. The range extender keeps the scope closer to the barrel for more precision shots. You can also choose to add some scope rings with lower height and lower the center of gravity with those heavy scopes as well. Kraford Lypt makes two versions of this, one for the Impact and one for the Maverick. The mounting points are slightly different, as the Maverick has 4 little holes where the Impact has one big one here and 2 small ones at the back. Also, these cutouts are specially for the Maverick, so the one for the Maverick won't fit the Impact and the one for the Impact won't fit the Maverick. So it's gun specific. The Maverick version also extends toward the rear further than the original one for the optics, to have especially with that short eye relief for some scopes, like for instance some of those prismatic scopes or some night vision optics that you have to put really close to your eye. So very nice, so you can extend it way more backwards. The base of the rail that sits on top of it is made from dovetail, so you're also able to remove that complete top rail and install some rings with some dovetail connection and even get closer to your barrel as well. The range extender is a top choice for long range shooting and up and close shooting as well. Right, with the close-ups done, it's time to get everything installed. Right, so here we are with the Maverick. Before we're gonna remove all the parts, safety first, make sure your rifle is not cocked, there are no pellets in the breech, and your gun is put on safe. Safe gun to work on, very important. The parts we're going to focus on, we're going to remove the chassis, we're going to remove the scope rail, we're going to reuse the parts that we need to put onto our chassis, like the grip and the butt plates you see right here. So let's get started. First up, we'll remove the 2 screws for the chassis. That works a little bit easier. And that's the front one. And one at the back. Keep your screws well to the side, as you need to reuse them. And our chassis already should be able to be dropped out. Do it gently, like this. That's our chassis. Let's put the gun up a little bit. And the first thing we'll be removing is that grip. Put your Allen key into the bottom. Always difficult to find that hole. There it is. Undo that screw. And take out your grip. Next part we'll have to salvage is those 2 back plates. So take out this, slide out your shoulder pad. And then you have 2 screws here and 2 screws here that mount this plate to your chassis. Crack them loose. Screw number 1, number 2. Put that plate to the side. Turn the chassis around. And that's about the second plate. And that's all we have to salvage from the original chassis, so let's put this one to the side and get our new chassis in. Nice and golden chassis. First thing we'll do is place those 2 back plates again. It's a one-on-one fit. if I get my Allen key correct inside. That's one screw. As with everything, make sure everything threads in nicely before you start tightening up stuff. Like this, like this. The plate on the other side. Screw number one, screw number two. Like so. Turn it around. Put your butt part back in. And I always get it wrong. It's one side fit, just like this. And that's the back part complete already. Now let's install our grip. Same here, just push it on like you would do with the original one. Take the Allen key and screw in the screw. Like this. That's already starting to look really nice. So now let's continue with that front rail to go with it. Like that. You get a bag supplied with some screws. The two, like this, will have to go into the back. Drop them in like this, like this. I start out with my fingers to make sure they thread in nicely. Then you have one at the front here. That's where your stock has to go. And then you have two inside, that's for those shorter ones. Like this. Let me get the correct Allen keys. Thread them in. Not tightening them yet. Making sure the threads start. Like this. Do the same with these. Too small, of course. And that's the chassis almost assembled and ready to go. Take your time screwing them in. Never over tighten anything. Like this. And then still the front ones. First like this, and then just a slight crank. Like that. And that's the chassis completely assembled. And it can go back straight onto our Maverick. So, line up all the pieces. And it should snap all together like this. Make sure all the creases line up nicely. Then turn it upside down. Take your original screws, the short one goes into the back. Like this. And the longer one goes into the front. Front one nicely locked in, and then the back one. Like so. Pretty cool, and that's already our gold chassis installed. Now let's pay our attention to install that range extender from Kraford Lypt. So first thing we gotta do, remove the original one, of course. And you got 4 screws, 2 here, 2 there. Crack them loose first. Some of them might be tight. Voila, got them. Make sure you completely undo all of them. Actually never removed the scope rail on my Maverick before. Seems to be those are some short screws. Dump it over because you will be reusing those screws. And just to have a comparison between the two, if you line up the block, you can see you can have a massive difference. Pretty cool. With that top rail that can have an incline just like this. Very nice. Then this you can slide forward, that matches into one of those notches, and you can really lock in your elevation of your scope rail, of course. Really cool to be putting onto my Maverick. So while trying to installing it, the original screws that come from your original scope rail, they're way too short to install this. I must have misplaced mine that came with the rail, because I suppose Kraford delivers the right screws with it that are a little bit longer, so I had to source some of them myself in my toolbox. So to put that scope rail on, it's very easy. Just put it on top. You can also, of course, completely remove that adjustable rail. Two in the front, two in the back. Start the threads. Don't tighten them yet, wait till the end, till they all started. Something very important, and that's with every scope rail you put back on a gun, is that you have to make sure that this is nice and flush, because if I put it like this, the scope rail has a slight movement on it, so just make sure that both sides are flush. If you can't get there, loosen the screws just a little bit. Once it's flush, tighten those screws down, so you know that it's exactly in line with the rest of your gun, so you don't have to have any problems with your windage on your scope. Finger tight is good enough. Don't over crank them so you don't strip the threads inside. Like this. Flip this back over, back in like this. I'll put it on the second one so I have a little bit of elevation already on my scope. That screw goes back in. And you can tighten it up so your rail is fixed in the correct position. Front one as well. And those I need a different Allen key. Those we can tighten as well, just like this. And there you have it, the range extender by Kraford Lypt installed on your Fx Maverick. The range extender gives you the possibility to give you some MOA adjustment on your scope. It also has those nice T-slots on the sides, so you can slot in a Picatinny rail or the sling mount or whatever to mount your accessories as well. Pretty cool look. So there you have it, really beautiful. So let's go back to the normal view. So guys, here it is, all dressed up in the golden chassis and range extender by Kraford Lypt. Pretty cool color, I find, and now finally I have my golden gun for in my collection. I don't know if you like it, let me know in the comment section down below. Maybe you prefer a different color. I believe Kraford also makes them in a few different colors, but you can check them out on their website as well. So let's have a quick recap. The range extender at the top gives you another 150 MOA on your scope adjustment. You have some T-slots on the side of the scope rail. You have some T-slots on the side of the chassis here as well as on the bottom, and a long big one in the Arca Swiss rail at the front. Pretty cool to mount all your various accessories. You can slide in some tiny Picatinny rails, some swivel mounts, whatever. You can mount it there, pretty cool. The long Arca rail very close to the bottle, as you can see, which gives a nice sleek look with that long Arca rail to mount, like I did, my bipod here through an Arca connection or on a tripod, whatever you want. Really cool chassis by Kraford Lypt, as well as the range extender. If you're in the market for one of these and you want to pick one up for yourself, definitely go check out the website of Krale Schietsport. They have all these in stock and probably a lot more that you still need that you don't know about. So, I thank you for watching. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I catch you back in the next one. Bye.